Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. This is an exciting video for me personally, but also a sad video as well, I guess, because these components all belong to the late Alison Challis. Now, Colin, who's a good friend of mine, was Alison's partner, and he's been meaning to, he did say to me a few years back he was going to send me these components as he, cleared through some of Alison's stuff. And obviously it's quite hard moving on from things when, something like that happens where you lose a loved one. So it's taken a lot of effort from Colin to get around to doing this, and obviously still going through the grief process. Even 3-4 years later, that shows you how close they were. So it's like I say, I'm excited, but I'm also sad at the same time. And I'm sure Colin was sort of slightly sad, perhaps sending me this stuff. But you've got to find a way to move on in life, and just keeping things around you that don't really help you or serve you any purpose, perhaps, isn't always the best thing to do. But yeah, I'm very grateful for Colin for sending these. Like I say, and it's exciting, but it's also sad. Some people might want to skip this video because there's nothing really much, unless you want to, you're curious, you want to see a little bit about how, what the components Alison used, or electronic components in general, because there's bound to be stuff in here that I'm not, I don't even know what they are. It's first time I've seen a particular type of component, etc. So it's going to be interesting from that aspect. At the same time, I'll be splitting up pretty much 50% of everything here and sending half of this stuff to Chris Swinson. Now, Chris was a close colleague, working colleague of Alison's, and it kind of, I'm reluctantly, let's just be clear on this, I'm reluctantly sending this to Chris Swinson. Nobody's asked me, nobody's told me. I just feel like it's the right thing to do. I think, if anything, actually, all this stuff should have gone to Chris, perhaps. So when I said I didn't really want to send half of it away, you can understand why, because obviously there's loads of nice components here, and it's not just about the monetary value of these, because I'm not going to be selling any, I'm going to be using these, for projects and things, but it's the, I guess the sentimental aspect. These are all Alisons, in an ideal world I wouldn't need to give any of them to anybody, but it's like I say, I think it's the right thing to do. I think, if anything, perhaps they should have all gone to Chris. And it would be wrong really for me to not split these down the middle, I think, and send them to Chris. To be clear, like I say, Colin did send me these for nothing, and he included some of the tools you saw in the last video there. There's not much, there's just a couple of handheld, like basic multimeters, a cheap Chinese logic analyzer. I mean, it really is, it's second hand, it's probably worth about 50-60 quid actually. You can buy them new for 100. I'll show you that later perhaps. And the Velleman, which you saw, so I've paid a lot of money for those things actually, and I've paid some additional money to Colin for the postage, and and he did try to knock me down a couple of £100 and I said no, I'd rather pay you what I think this is worth, including the value of the components. So, I'm not going to be charging Chris or anything for this. I will be sending Chris on, let's say, half of these. But yeah, without further ado, let's just pull the first one out and have a look. So as you can see here, and I'm going to have to move the camera around a fair bit while I'm doing this, I think, because it's going to be difficult. The box is really big and stuff. So these look like EEPROM boxes, I think. So I mean, we've got 27C 1001 there. Let's have a look. I'm guessing that's probably what's going to be in there. 10 ST 27C 1001, and there you go, it is. So yeah, half those will go to Chris. I'm going to cut some of this out. I might just show you if there's something different in one of these, but yeah, I'll probably just jump to the next component. Yeah, not quite 10 in there, there's I don't know, 8. So rather than go through every single component in these, I think some of them I'm going to skirt over, just to show you what, from the outside of the bag, what's inside it, because otherwise it just takes far too long. But as you can see, we've got some terminal block, we've got some inline DC jack type things, DINs, all stuff for DINs, the housings. We've got a nice gold plated, I think there's 2 of those actually, I saw one before, so things like that I'll split between us, straight down the middle. It's going to take me some time to do that, but I'll do that after this video. Yeah, but mostly connectors by the looks of things in there. So that's that one. Let's have a look at this one. A couple of cases. I might keep those, I'm not sure. There's any point in splitting them. Yeah, like I say, I'll split the majority of stuff, just the occasional thing like that, where I think I could really use those myself. I'll perhaps just keep them. I'll perhaps send Chris some of the extra stuff that I feel like I can't use. So things like this, I'm never going to use all of those. I might just send all of those to Chris. I don't know. I'll probably keep a few for myself. but I'm never going to use them all. Chris is always doing projects, you know, producing his own PCBs for things, so things like this for him are going to be more useful, I think. Although, like I say, I'm not ruling out the fact that I might do some little projects myself at some point. Some PCBs, I saw this before, I think I'll just keep this myself. They're just mostly pests and things that have been, you can see she's manually created these. You know, Ali used to, a bit like Crystal's actually, just make her own PCBs. Now, I used to do this many years ago. You know, you get your, you know, your copper board and then mark your traces, and the different ways of doing that. You could get, like, I think I got transfer. You can do it with a pen, you know, a permanent marker or something, certain type of ink, or you can get stencils and things, you know, little transfers that you can stick on there, and then you, I forget you do it now, you treat them with UV light, don't you, and then you stick them into some ferric chloride or something for a period of time, and it eats off everything apart from where you've marked the traces. So that's what these little handmade boards are. That's an interesting little breakout board there, but as you can see, we've got some pins broken off, you know. So yeah, that's shot that socket. But I could always put a new socket on there, and that's a nice little breakout board actually for a, I'm assuming it's a breakout board. I need to check, but yeah, I'm assuming that these little pins along here are going to be each connected to, you know, the pins around there. So yeah, that's quite useful actually. And that's like a pest, I think, obviously with no chip on it. And some of these are pest boards, I think, as well. They probably all are. These little ones here were perhaps prototypes of the pest, designed to work with different PIC chips. And then there's just a couple of like faulty, I think that's like off a USB memory stick or something. There's another one there as well, but they're just faulty for parts. So nothing exciting in that bag, really. But it's, you know, again, it's interesting to see the history from, you know, some of Ali's previous work. Crystals, not so many, and also some ceramic resonates. So again, split those. What we got here? Bag with, I'm not sure what these are, like plastic bezels or something, perhaps for light fittings or something, and some wires. Not really sure what these are here, like a little type of sensor. Let's just get one of those out, because it'd be interesting. I saw these before, actually, I took one out and had a look, and I couldn't work out what the hell it was. So if you've, you know, if you've got any ideas, let me know. Can you see we've got a tactile switch there, a bit of sponge on the back of the PCB. You know, there's this little PCB and it's going into here, like that's some sort of optical thing or something. I don't know. I'd need to perhaps connect power up to that and just see what that is. I'm wondering if it's an LED or something. Don't know, I'm very curious. But again, there's two of those. That's got spring. Can you see that? It's got spring on the underneath there. What's that all about? I've got no idea. Bit of a contraption there, but again, I can, well, they split up. Send one to Chris, see what he makes of it. Yeah, so what else we got in there? Is that a relay? Looks like a relay, I think, car relay, that or something, yeah. And some, what's that? I can't even see what that is. Yeah, those are those like plastic trunking things, you know, cable grips. So again, let's split those between us. An absolutely ginormous bag of connectors. God, you know, I wish I'd had this a year ago. There's so many of these connectors I could have used. Like these 15 pin, I think they are. I think, is that 15 pin? It just looks like it is. Those are the sort of things you need for like a Neo Geo, you know, or a NES, you know, so they're dead useful. And an Amiga. Oh, hang on, Amiga's 23 pin, I think, isn't it? The AV connector. But I'll bet you anything there's the odd 23 pin connector in there. But again, you know, I'm glad I'm sending some of these to Chris. There's no way on hell or on earth I will ever be able to use all those, because I've probably got a quantity of these myself, but nowhere near as many as this. But yeah, that's good. There's some loose wires and things here. Yeah, you can see there, Miss Alison Challis. It's very sad. Yeah, crocodile clips, some test probes and stuff. So yeah, I can probably split some of those. I don't know whether Chris is going to be bothered. I might be able to use these, so I'm not sure. Those might work with the that meter actually, that Hills meter I've got. There's only one probe there, one wire there though, so I don't know unless there's another one somewhere. Capacitors, and some of this stuff I've gone through and just sorted. These are resistors, sorry. Yeah, I stuck some of the stuff that was just in the bags into this bag. So this has got like the caps for potentiometers here. You can see loads of SMD, they're all resistors, pots here, and I think there's a few of the more traditional type pots in there. You can't perhaps quite see them, but there is one or two in there. There's not many. it's mostly just SMD stuff, but yeah, I can split those easily enough. And then this giant bag of capacitors here. So again, some SMD stuff, SMD electrolytics, so like polyester and plastic, you know, metal type caps and things in here, tons of electrolytics. Yeah, some of these old, I forgot what they're called now, you know, X class and Y class caps and stuff. Those probably would have been used in BBCs and things, I would think. And some of these have been reclaimed. There's one or two that have, you know, like that one down there, I think that's been reclaimed from an old power supply. But again, you know, that's just a giant pack of caps. I'm amazed how many caps she's got, actually. It's surprising because some of these things there's not many of, and you think that's a bit strange. She didn't have very many of a certain type of component, but others she's got lots of. I mean, these are LEDs. I think, yeah, you can see some really small LEDs down here, and then you've got these 7-segment. Let's just take some of these out and have a look, actually. Yeah, smaller like double-digit 7-segment displays there, and these larger ones here, manufactured by RS. I think I've just seen an RS logo on one of them somewhere. But yeah, there's a few of those, not that many. That's 6 or 7. Loads of these little mountings here for LEDs, you know, little plastic, comprised of 2 parts, like a ring, and the count, you know, the bit that fits inside the, you know, your chassis or whatever. And some nice little, look at these are nice, those are nice little indicators there. They've got like a glass front, so let's see if I can get one of those out to show you. Yeah, look at those, they've got a nice glass front, so I'm assuming those are they look like an LED, I think, with a nice metal, you know, chrome fascia. Those are really nice for projects and things. And then things like this, you know, I think those are IR LEDs, you know, there's quite a few different types there, mostly IR actually, funnily enough, and surface mounted ones. There's loads of those little surface mounted ones. But yeah, so that's that bag. What have we got in here? Transistors. Yeah, surprisingly not that much in the way of like diodes and things. So I think those are the only diodes. That pack of 4 diodes or 3 diodes there, that's it. I'm surprised she didn't have any of the diodes. That did came as a bit of a sort of shock, really. I just expect out of all this stuff there would be some diodes, but yeah, there's some bridge rectifiers there. There's only about 6 or 7, I think. But yeah, I'll go through the transistors here and split those up as well. What else have we got? Resistors, more resistors, and some resistor arrays. I think that's what those are. They look like little chips, but the resistor arrays has 100k on it. Yeah, nothing particularly exciting, but yeah, lots of packs there that can split easily enough. And what have we got here? Drill bits and things. Yeah, so there's a lot of these for PCB. You know, cutting holes in PCBs and things in a little tool. I could do with that tool. I don't have a tool myself, actually. I've got some of the drill bits myself already, but yeah, I can split that relatively easy between the 2 of us, I think. I'm never going to use all those drill bits. Switches, so lots of, I mean, I've got loads of these already, but you go through them for fun. But again, I'll split them up. I know Chris will be able to use these, definitely, but mostly just normal sort of DP, DT, double pole, double throw switches, I think. I don't think I need them a single pole, no, double pole, double throw. And a little finger dip switches there. It's convenient, there's 2, we can have 1 each. There we go. Fuses, so yeah, good, that's going to be useful as well. So I'll split that. Battery box there, I can use that actually myself for a project I've got going on at the moment. But yeah, lots of fuses there, so that's useful. Batteries, again, I can split those easily enough between us. I'm sure Chris will be able to use those batteries as well as I will. Well, they might have expired, that's one of the problems with these. You see they've got, it says they're July 2019, so they might be alright for a few years yet. But yeah, batteries like this, they don't always last, you know, they do have expiry dates. I think these are brand new nickel metal hydrides, so those could be useful as well. And we're getting near the end now, it's just last few bags here. More connectors, these are SCART connectors. So, I mean, I'm never going to use all of those, so again, I'll just split them down the middle, but very useful for making up RGB leads and things like that. Yeah, more connectors here, as you can see. I've got some wider Look at that, that's like 50 pin or something, I'm not sure. It's like the Centronics, the old Centronics D-type one. There are some Centronics connectors somewhere, I've not seen them, I can't remember where they are now. Might be in one of the other bags, but again, you know, just loads of these D-type, some VGA ones, adapters, you know, male to male, is it, or female to female, and male to male, both of them, so different types of adapters there. Again, I've got loads of those, but it's good. These are easy to split down the middle, not a problem. Sockets. So I think the last 2 bags actually are just sockets. So how many pins is that? Is that 36? Yeah, it looks like it's probably 36 or 36, could be 28. Interesting. I've never thought about the best way to store sockets, and this is something that Alison's just taught me, actually, because I would have never thought about doing that. The simplicity of stacking those sockets like that, that is just so creative and such a good use of space, because you know, you'll be aware yourself, if you've got component drawers with sockets and things, it's an absolute nightmare trying to fit them into a drawer. You know, mine are just all over the place, you know, just a big pile of different types of sockets, whereas you store them like this, that, you know, you can easily store those into plastic trays and things, and you made good use, you know. Just 2 piles of those will fit into one drawer, no problems at all, so that's really clever. I like that. Yeah, but again, it's easy to split that between us. I'll just you know, send an equal sized tower, 2 towers of those to Chris, and then more sockets here. You can see, I'll probably keep that. Yeah, I could do with that. That looks like it's 42 pin, it could be just 40, but I'm short of one of those actually, and everything else in here is relatively easy to split between us. It's just like pin headers, sockets. Yeah, those are for making up those little connectors, aren't they, like JST type connectors. A couple of JSTs there, I think. They're probably not JST, but they're the same type of thing, you know. But yeah, there we go. So as I say, I'll split those up. I'll send, you know, half will be winging its way over to Chris over the next week or 2 when I get a chance to post it. So I thought it'd be interesting just to see some of the other bits that Colin sent me as well, actually, and I've paid for all these, and I'll tell you what I've paid. I've paid more than they're probably worth, actually. That was about 40 quid. I've seen these on eBay, you know, it's just a precision meter, basically, multimeter. You can buy them for about 30 to 40 quid with, you know, probes. There's no probes with this, so, and I've got this working. It was flat, you know, it needed a new battery. If Chris wants to buy it, he can let me know. You know, I've paid, let's say I've paid around 40 quid for that. This was in there as well, which I was pleasantly surprised at. You can see it's just got a fingerprint there, just needs cleaning off, but it's a little LCD TV, well, screen, you know, composite monitor, 4.3 inch monitor, 9 to 12, 24 volts, and it's got this little fly lead coming off here, which is presumably video, audio, power. So obviously I need to check the polarity. Obviously the voltage is marked on the back there. It's got a regulator perhaps in there because it does say 9 to 24 volts, I think. But I haven't tested it, but I've just paid him 20 quid. I had a quick look on eBay. These new are about £17. So if you weren't aware you can get these, yeah, 17 quid, you could buy yourself a little screen to test with. That's really useful. So I can only imagine Ali would have used this on you know, things like STs and things, when she had things on the bench, because it's just so convenient, the small size of it. So yeah, that's, for me, that was worth £20, despite the fact, like I say, it's second hand, you know. I've tried to be fair, and what I don't want on my conscience with all this is feeling like I've taken advantage. You know, that's the thing, really. This is all Ali's stuff and I'll treasure it. He's got another one of these, actually, so if Chris wants one of these, or he wants this one, you can have this one. I think I paid 15 quid for this. There might be 20, I can't remember, because I looked on eBay and there's a few. There are a couple at 20 or 30 or 40 quid, but there's nobody bidding on them. But there were 2 when I looked that were at 99 pence with no bids, and there was one that was at £15 buy it now or best offer. So they're not selling, and you can see it's got a bit of an imperfection there. It doesn't switch on, so I don't even know whether it works. I've just took a not really took a punt. I've just paid Colin what it's worth in my mind, because it probably is just the battery. So, but it's got the case, you know. But most of them have. The ones on eBay that I've spotted, they've all got the cases. But apparently, you know, these are one of the best calculators around. Alison swore by these calculators, which is why she's got 2. So yeah, Chris, if you want one of those, let me know, and I'll get Colin to send you the other one, perhaps, or something. Or you can have this one. It's, you know, it's up to you. And then there was this logic analyzer, which is, yeah, it's not great. This is 0 plus. They're not, you know, 0 plus technology. They're not fantastic. I've not heard great things about them, but then again, they do work. And it's all, you know, it's all in its original box. I guess she hardly ever used this, because I do know she had better logic analyzers. You know, this is quite limited. It goes up to 200 megahertz, I think, and it's only 16 channel. You need Windows 98 and stuff. It's, you know, it's quite old. I'll just have a quick look in here. You can see I've got the manual. Yeah, I've had it out here. Just have a look. Actually, you can see it's, you know, it's pretty cheap. It's not, you know, it wouldn't have cost thousands of pounds or anything. It's probably £150 new, I think. I had a look at these on eBay. You can buy ones with a similar spec for about £130 shipped. So I think I've paid about £100 for this. But yeah, I should be able to use it, I think, because I do have a logic analyzer. It's one of those ones that relies on a PIC. It's like it uses a PIC. I think it was Dangerous Prototypes or something I got it from. And it works, but I found the few times I've tried it just recently, I get really weird clock edges. You know, you just put it on a standard clock, for example. Let's have like a normal square wave type thing. You get like a large pulse, short pulse, a large pulse, a short pulse. It's like, I don't know, it's just like it's not triggering properly somewhere. But yeah, we'll give this a go, because this might hopefully give me a more visible, a better representation of captures and things. I might actually be able to use it, because I did need something like that to do some testing on the Famicom and just demonstrate why the Famicom is a good console to learn from, actually, if you know nothing about digital electronics and CPUs and things like that. So yeah, and then you previously seen this. I did a video, I think it was the last video I did actually, was on this, and it's important to note that straight after that video, you know, it was one of those go sort of moments where I realised why, you know, we had an awful looking clock when I was trying to demonstrate it when I was testing on the Famicom, and it's because it's 10 megahertz. It's like I say that this is really limited. That's what I think the 10 is for on the model number there, HPS 10. It will only go up to 10 megahertz, and of course the Famicom clock is like 21.477 or something daft. So that was why the clock looked awful. So, because I think one or two people in the comments section there said, oh, you know, I had one of these in years past and God, they were awful. I sent it straight back. And I think that's what it is. It's because it's such low frequency, you know, maximum frequency, that you can't do much with it. But for stuff like C64s, I will get this onto my C64 and my VIC, and I'll show that in perhaps a future video, because I've got a few C64 and VIC repairs to do at some point I want to cover. And you can see I did put a new screen protector on there. There is a scratch underneath the protector. It's interesting though. You can see just a bit of pressure there, and you affected the LCD. You know, it just goes to show it's not very thick, the plastic thing in between. But yeah, there's a few air bubbles, but once those have gone out, that's okay. It's pretty good. So these were in the box, and the first thing I thought was, because I'd heard a previous story about Alison developing a little box where you could actually connect to supermarket networks from a from a car park. Don't take that the wrong way. She wasn't like deliberately trying to cause problems or to do any crime or anything like that. It was one of those. It's a bit like what's he called, Furtek. If you watch Furtek's channel, he's like that. It's like pushing the technology to the point to try and do things you can't do or you shouldn't be able to do. And yeah, that was one of those where I think she developed some magic box of tricks where she could connect to, like a Tesco network or something from a car park, and just to show she could. And she did it, and I thought that was what one of these was going to be, actually. But in retrospect, it's not. Obviously, it's got a speaker on it. You've got a switch here, obviously power indicator, volume, and then a little phono RCA jack. And this one obviously has got two. It's got a 3.5mm. Now this had the 3.5mm socket rattling around inside of it. So I thought, what the hell are these? Well, I did take the screws out just to remove the socket that was floating around inside. And I've had a look at the PCB there. You can just about see inside the little socket with an 8-pin dip chip on it. I think it's an LM386 or something. It's an op amp. Might not be a 386. It's definitely an LM op amp. So I thought, oh, okay, it's obvious what this is. It's just you just feed sound in through one of these two connectors here. You know, you switch it on. You've got your volume adjustment here, and you've got sound, portable sound, and that's exactly what it is. I've tested this one here that's got a battery in at the moment, minus the 3.5mm jack. I've just tested it with that phono there on one of the Famicoms, and that's what it is. It's just a portable sound box. So for things like, you know, the ST and Famicom, any other sort of console really, where you've got like a, you know, 2 phonos coming out for audio and video, you can stick your audio in here and you can test audio straight away. So if you're not getting video on a TV, this is a really good way of seeing whether you've got sound or not. And again, it's just really nice that there's 2 of these, because I can send one to Chris. I think what I'll do is I'll send him this one that's you know, it's fully assembled, and this one I'll stick back in the 3.5mm socket and keep this one for myself. I mean, I've already put a battery in here and tested it, it works, but I will test this one before I send it to Chris. So most of these chips came from Ali, those didn't. Those 2116s are just something I've stuck on here, and that 216 I stuck on there. But yeah, just a bunch of 7.4 logic really. Surprisingly little. Again, it's a bit like the diodes. I kind of expected that she might have quite a bit of 74 logic, because most electronics people tend to have quite a few spares for 74 chips and stuff, but there's not a lot, surprisingly, not a lot. But you see, it could be because she's got good stock management. Some people just buy in what they need and keep the odd spare. These are particularly interesting, and the nice thing again with these is there's 2. So I'll send one to Chris and I'll keep one. Yeah, 74, not 74, the speech chip, aren't they? Is it, I forget who made these now, is it Texas Instruments or someone? Let's just see if we can get one out. It's AY, it's what's his name, isn't it? I forget who makes those now, not AY. You can see that thing there, GI, you know, it's, my mind's gone blank, but you can see it's an SP02568 Gold Star, that's what I was going to say, SP02568-AL2. So that's the standard, I think, English, it's got phonemes or whatever they're called built into it. So you can connect that up to an Arduino or a PIC or something like that, and get some old-fashioned style text-to-speech stuff going on. And it's, like I say, it's just really convenient. There's 2 of those, look unused, new. Yeah, so one of those will be winging its way to you, Chris. Some 7.4, some of this stuff I'm not going to bother splitting. I mean, I don't see the point. Is Chris really going to be bothered to have one 7.4 LS245? It's going to take me that much effort to do that. But with some of these, I will split them up like these, because these are more useful and a bit more expensive. I've labelled these up myself, actually. So we've got some PIC 16F627As, 16F648As. So yeah, I can easily just separate those into 2 lots. You know, you can have half of each of those. I think they're probably the most expensive chips out of here. They might be like £1 each, 50 pence each, something like that. Most of the things, you know, you can buy cheap in bulk. More 74 logic. Again, I'm not going to bother swapping those. Chris is not going to be short of a couple of 74 logics. 12F508 again. There's only 3 there. I'll just keep those myself, I think. What have we got here? Oh, that's my SRAM that's one I ordered from somewhere else. That's nothing to do with this. And again, 1 or 2, I think it's 274 HCT86s. Not much else really. There's just the only other things that on here on these on that piece of foam. You can see an interesting use of an EEPROM here. I'm not sure what she was trying to achieve. You can see some of the pins are bent out. We've got like a wire down here, as if that's supposed to replace the wire that was coming down from there. But then we've got some pins bent out at an angle, like she was going to stick a probe onto them or something, or a wire. And it's the same on this side. So I'm not really sure what that would be used for. Post down below with what you can think that might have been, you know, used with. I'm thinking like a BBC or something. I don't know. Maybe, you know, she's trying to use a different type of EEPROM and just wire it in a certain way. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure about why the pins are bent up. So that's interesting. I might try and dump that. Another small 27C32 or something. I don't know what that is. Very small chip there. Got chips falling out of here actually, not sticking in very well. In fact, chips are falling off both sides. Polystyrene is not perhaps the best thing for something like this, but that's what they were stored in. Let's just try and secure that again. Oh god, chips are flying everywhere. Yeah, I think these are RAM, I'm not sure. MC14025BCP. They might not be, they might be like some sort of serial transceiver or something like that. I'm not sure, I need to look up the part numbers of those, but yeah, there's a few of those Motorola chips there. Could be something completely different, I don't know. So not much there. And then these are particularly interesting because I've never seen anything like them. You can see straight away here what they are. Sorry if I can just get it to focus. Is it going to focus? Yeah, they've got little 6117 chips on now. A 6116 is 2K, so I'm guessing they're maybe 4 or 8K each. And if you take this out, you can see a really nice assembly here, the way these little pin things have been attached onto this. Oh, look at this board. What's it made of? It's like a ceramic. Can you hear that? It's like a ceramic board. It's bizarre. I've never seen anything like that. So please post in the comments below if you know more about where that might have come from, or who produced them, or what they were used for. But obviously it's a RAM chip. You know, that is just a larger way of having a RAM chip in that package. It's just the manufacturers are at really, really high quality. So we've got 2 of those. So I don't know whether they're like 32K or 64K. Maybe you could use them in a BBC or something. Maybe they came from a BBC. I don't know. The pins were really bent. I've straightened them up a bit. So yeah, that's curious. And a Z80, the pins on this were absolutely mangled. They were seriously mangled. Just like an accident, really, of it being in transit. You can see the strain up a little bit there. They're still a little bit out, but yeah, it's just a Z80. So again, I'll probably just keep that myself. I'll probably keep those 2. But if unless Chris desperately wants them or needs them for something, I could always send them. And then on the other side here, just some more 74 logic, 7406, 7407, 7406, and those. I'm not sure what those are. Yeah, again, comments down below. I might just get a closer up on that actually. Yeah, so there's a macro. What on earth are these? No idea. Nice gold tops on them. So I just need to work my way through this stuff now, split it into 2 lots. I've got a lot more bags here, all separated to separate bags, and send half to Exos. Obviously I really appreciate Colin sending this, and ultimately Alison. It has been quite sad. At the same time I've been excited by a lot of the stuff. It is sad, everything is a reminder as I'm looking at things, thinking, okay, Ali used that, and what did Ali use this for, and that sort of thing. So it's sad really in many ways, but these things will be used. Some of them, let's say, are going to go to a better home. Chris will be able to use them in some of his projects and stuff. Anyway, I thought you'd find that interesting. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.